Yeah,
Uh,
that's
at
that's
this
just so surprising.
at this point, I just assume it's already gone.
Hmm.
Okay, so 496 get a Void pickup. In fact, they have both Voids in this first
Yeah.
draft of theirs, and well, Adroit just don't seem to care.
I don't know about this one. It looks a bit scary for a droid. Now, Mars plus Puck is an interesting duo. I don't think Dreamcoil particularly works nice with, say, Arena. I mean, that does kind of force them to get trapped, I suppose, but you're not going to be looking at free sort of breaks unless you just don't throw Arena, just get the Spear out or the God's Rebuke at the edge. One way to get it done. I love that 496 do manage to pick up the AA though. They see Undying, they see IO, they know the healing is going to be the game plan here for a droid. Ancient Apparition, when you land the ult, takes care of that. So you've got the answers here for 496. You've got this combo with Faces Void plus Ice Blast that you need to land, but it's looking pretty solid in that way. Adroit don't really have the best of holds from their supports for a Void Spirit. Like, what does IO and Undying do to stop a Void Spirit from running? To stop a Faceless Void from jumping out? Nothing.
Nothing.
That's really just down to Mars and Puck, and that's just a lot of responsibility to put onto your two cores already in this draft.
It certainly is, and I think this goes back to those kind of unique drafts that Adroit's been running recently, right? Like they don't really seem to respect what the enemy's choosing. They're picking whatever they want and what they believe to be the right kind of draft to go for, and well, I suppose it's up to them to prove whether it's going to work or not. Right now, I do agree with you that they don't have the greatest lockdown for these heroes apart from that Puck Mars.
Mm.
But those heroes, they're going to take a bit of time to get online. It's not instantaneous. You do generally want supports that do have a stun at least to be able to take care of that. But I suppose they have a game plan going for themselves. We'll wait and see. So Droid do still have a position 1 to pick up, I believe. 496 actually banning out the TA just in case.
Mm-hmm.
They're focusing in on a mid pickup here for 496, which is quite intriguing. It does seem pretty obvious it's a pos 1, and yeah, there's a Spectre ban coming out. Invoker being removed from Adroit, not wanting that Void Invoker combination. And now what? 496, what do they finish off with here?
Oh, you're laying against a Puck. Potentially. It's a bit tricky to outright win. Just looking for something that can play with a Void. Perhaps something like the Queen of Pain could be decent if you wanted to. Just for the Sonic Wave. Of course, again, you pile onto the mobility. That Adroit just don't have the best of heroes to really play against. Maybe last pick Lena can tie in with that Void Spirit. Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow.
Last pick Lena. There you go. Lacoste is rolling around, getting pissed off right now.
I don't blame him, John. It's one of those pickups, you know. It dominates the early game, and then late game it can dominate, but it's I don't know how you put it, John. It's one of those really weird kind of momentum based heroes where it's like if it dies a couple times, suddenly that momentum's gone and it just tends to drop off a bit. It's quite a squishy core as well, so if you catch her out, if this Mars gets an arena into a spear, it's like, well, you're kind of just dead. You know, there's no real way around it. No kind of save potential either here from 496 for that Lena, if she does get caught out.
Yeah.
Adroit, however, John, more importantly, what position 1 are they going for?
I mean, you want to do something with the IO? CK is in the pool if a droid wanted to. But again, they haven't. The last time they drafted IO, it was with Slardar and Void Spirit. So it wasn't really an IO game as well. They go to. There you go. Beastmaster. Again, another strange draft from a droid. Just getting the IO, but not necessarily tying themselves to it. And Nico on the Beastmaster coming out here as well. Like, they don't have a traditional pause 1 here. What's Tino playing? The Mars pause 1 for Tino? Or is
Okay.
that I don't know. It's interesting again from Adroit. They are shaking it up. Actually, that should be the pause 1 Mars, right? Like surely.
That's what it looks like. It's
I don't know.
very interesting.
Yeah, that's putting it kind. I think It has potential to run up and win, right? Like they've got this lockdown now from the Beastmaster. They can kind of play around with that. 496 Gaming, even though it's a last pick Lina being played by Jokam, I think it's looking pretty nice. Can play outside with the Laguna coming through, and we'll just have to see what Adroit does with this. Like Mars or Beastmaster coming in with the puck. They have some good team fight. We need to see the game plan with the Undying and the IO, and that's one thing we didn't point out as well. Like the Lina to deal with Undying Tombstone is pretty darn good. So as long as Jokam doesn't get caught in the arena spear first, should have a clear enough time to rip through the Undying Tombstone in the back. Nico would not want to expand the Roar onto Alina. He'd rather look at the Faceless Void or the Void Spirit. So it should be fairly safe for Jokam to avoid that spell at the least.
See how this one pans out. I'm very intrigued by this Adroit draft. Of course, their results thus far in the group stage, kind of say that we should kind of trust what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So they are currently sitting in third place, tied with Motivate Trust for that third place spot at the moment. Just behind TNC and Among Us. A very nice position here so far from Adroit, and naturally they want to just try and keep that up. See, 496, they are a bit more desperate for points here.
Doesn't it?
As they are just in the lower side of the group stages right now, sitting in 8th place. So definitely look for those points if they can get them here for 496. Matter of what they can get done here. I do love the 496 draft though. It's apart from maybe that Lina, but everything else just seems pretty nice.
Yeah, definitely is. Of course, Jokam is playing the pause 4 Lina, I believe. Yeah, should be the pause 4.
Yeah, it's fine then.
Yeah, be pretty solid. Of course, forgot to point out that Drew is standing in as well, I believe, for... Are we seeing red swapped out? Yeah, I think it's red. Currently not here. Or HTZ. One of them, but... Again, the 496 lineup has kind of been shaken up in this tournament. Because, again, they're already standing in with Jokam. They've got a sub in here with Drew. And we saw that cause some issues in the BTS Pro Series Season 3. We'll see if 496 can kind of overcome that shuffling around they tend to do because of these sub-ins. And you've got this classic pause. Yeah, classic Merienda time pause for Adroit.
It's important, John. I haven't had Merienda today, John. Very upsetting.
Oh, gotta correct that, Mike. I mean, Monster is great and all, but you've got to have a meal with it.
True.
Something to eat.
I believe my wife was making me tuna salad or something. So
Ooh,
I was
sounds
meant
great.
to eat it during the break, but I forgot, John. Now, now I gotta cast this game before I go eat. So, oh well, what can you do?
Yeah.
Unlike
snooze,
the
you
players,
lose, Mike.
Unlike the players, John, I can't pause the game unless you never know. Maybe they'll let me do it once. Who knows? That's something that should be in place, right? Like a caster pause. Caster pause should be allowed, like once every series. Just
That would be interesting. Oh, yeah. I believe this is actually MCY's playing core. Pause 1. Is MCY Tino? I think it should be Tino. So that's a pause 1 IO, which I guess
Okay.
only Adroit's doing right now. Like, we saw Anna make that work, but recently, can't really recall. Yeah, that is Tino. Okay, forgot that. His alternate ID is MCY. All right. See what Tino can do. They've tried it once. I believe they did lose that game with Core IO, though. So, gotta make the work happen here, Tino. Get that IO going.
there's plenty of counters towards it. That's the hard part as well. Like, it's not like the IO particularly enjoys going up against the Void. In all fairness, though, nothing enjoys going up against the Void at the moment. It's a bit too strong of a hero in the current meta. See what they can do. We know 496, they can be quite an explosive sort of team. They do tend to really kind of leverage any kind of advantage they can get. So they've got to be a bit careful about that, Adroit. They can't give too much away to 496 in this landing stage. So they do tend to really take advantage of every little thing they can get.
Definitely. And, Adroit, I think, have set themselves up for some aggressive openings here. Like, I'm looking up top. Nico and the Beastmaster, of course, with the Boris and Hawks, can keep some eyes out. Boomy did go for a very offensive build on his pause 4 Puck. Right, it starts off with a Blightstone. So if you can get the damage onto Drew, just really lay it on. You have to remember that Puck's right click is pretty darn good, and they've left Drew alone as they're running a tri-lane bot.
Yeah, CML dropping very, very low now. This is what I was worried about. MCY, he's going to get run down like this, and they are going to take him out. Like I said, John, any advantage they can get, they're going to take it. 496 already getting first blood here up against Adroit, and that is not the start you want as a position 1 IO.
No, definitely not. And this is the one thing with an Undying support. Level 1 is just so iffy, especially up against a range hero like Alina. So she's always spacing herself away from that BB, which means your decays are just not that effective. Of course, CML does go for Soul Rip next, so they have some form of burst heal, but it takes so many levels for the Undying to really come into its own here.
Top lane, Boomy falling very low on the puck. We'll be able to salve up. Bombi's going to be the one in trouble now on the AA, as Nico does chase him down a little bit, but ultimately will decide better of it and just gets back into the lane. You don't really want to allow Drew to just keep freely farming this lane on the Void. Boomy is probably going to be able to really easily take care of Bombi here on the on that AA. It's just really not that hard, especially with this Blightstone up, and that is a great block out from Boomy.
Oh yeah.
Bombi will be alright to survive though.
Yeah, manages to get his salve out as well, so he's going to stay in this lane a bit longer. But level 1 AA is pretty darn weak as well. This has given Drew some space to get a lot of EXP. So level 3 is up on your Face's Void. It's just that Blightstone doing too much work.
It really is. And now they're going to just force them back a little bit. Bot lane still seems to be really tough for Adroit as they've caught out MCY again. He does not have Tether up either. It makes it tough when you don't have that escape mechanism there for the IO. Second time he goes down to the laning stage. We're only 3 minutes into the game.
And it's just that CML can't do anything, and that's just, again, the weakness of the Undying. Even down mid, which we haven't talked about, like Mac is holding his own, finding the last hits, but Hung did snipe the courier. That had Mac's bottle, so he's not going to have a refill for a full minute, and that means he might miss out on the power rune trade. Hung should be able to toss his body up front, have his supports help him secure that for his own bobber.
Top lane is going to be the cold feed out. Boomy, he does get frozen. Bombi now really giving it back over to Boomy and will force out the salve usage there on the puck. Bombi's looking for that cancellation on the salve, but doesn't really get it off. Still going to be pretty happy with the fact that he is pressuring this support puck away, allowing Drew to have a very, I don't want to say free lane, because he's not farming that freely, but it's not too bad.
No, it's not too bad. Look, Drew's still having at least a better time than the core IO, right? Like 17-3, our IO's at 9-2. MCY is just getting the short end of the stick, so you're going to be happy regardless if you're 496, going 0-2, less than 1k lead. Looks like they are going to hit their spikes. What Adroit need right now is levels. Like CML has level 3, but an Undying, I'd say, is really at the best at 4, possibly even 5. Those are just massive spikes for Undying. It's just not coming out fast enough. There's just no lane for CML to really play it.
Look, every lane's kind of just slowed down a bit now. It's going to be a slight net worth advantage here for 496. Joe Cam going to make a bit of a chase here onto CML, who has actually snuck by, and he's going to be able to take that banner in away, so a nice little bounty advantage for the side of Adroit. It may just cost CML his life, but he is going to waste at least a bit of time here as that BB is going to come in with the Aether Remnant, and CML, it is really just going to be all about wasting as much time as possible. Nice little Fairy Fire usage there, even with the stick charges, but CML eventually still going to die Of course, you'd rather just give the kill over to Jokam, but that baby is going to be the one to take it on the Void now. So, another great kill for 496.
Yeah, they're just going to be satisfied. 0-3. No signs of aggression yet from Adroit. MCY does get space out for his IO. Is rushing that Dominator build we tend to see come out. And with that, TML works his way top. So, Tri lane being formed up. Perhaps looking for some aggressive plays, but Hung is around to already spot that out.
He's at that level 6 mark, so you've got to be a bit wary about how much damage he can pump out on the Tiny. So he is eventually going to make his way back into that mid lane, and if there's one thing that has gone pretty well for Adroit, it is this mid-Mars. Mac has been having a very, very good time. Top of the net worth board, in fact, hold that thought, because Nico, top lane, is probably going to be the 4th member to die. In fact, no, a great soul rip out from CML, barely saving the life of Nico. He will be able to salve up just in the nick of time. They do pick up their first kill of the game for the side of Adroit.
It's a very big rotation out to get that done, though. Like, dragging CML up does open up an opportunity to push, but Bombi just respawns in. They should be able to hold out unless they really want to play aggressive here. There's no mana, no level 6 yet on Nico, so control is not as strong, and Drew is just about on the edge of reaching that level 6 mark.
Bombi is very cold feet, but Mac has rotated over on the Mars and does get the kill. It's going to make it so Drew has to just hide in the tree line, and with this siege creep, it is early, but they can definitely try to pressure this tier 1 tower, and it looks like they're going to get away with it as well. No defense out from 496.
They're opting instead to trade their bodies bot, so they're looking for a trade. Drew's down here as well with that EB, and that is going to force MCY out. They're going to try to go, but TP's here coming in. He does not want this to go for free.
No, he does not. Still, may not have a choice in the matter as that BB does catch him out with the 8th Remnant, and Boomy has no way out. He really doesn't delay anything, in fact, just giving more gold over to the Void Spirit. T1 bottom tower is still going to be traded off. To the mid lane they go. See, Jokam does make the rotation, making sure he secures the power rune, but it is going to be bot anyway for Hung. Here's a nice double damage. Both teams are just satisfied to just keep it slow.
I believe that's every single power rune coming out here for Hung as well. He's just had absolute rune control so far, getting a lot more value from his bottle compared to Mac. Now, Mac has been given free reign in the triangle, so there's been no contestation. They've been very secure there with 2 wards watching the entrance to the triangle. They just want their Mars to farm up like this, and you mentioned it, but this is leading to Mac getting that solid build-up. Expect his blink timing to really be what enables Adroit to start playing around here, but even MCY has found his Dominator. Still finding kills, though.
Nico going to try to go for a roar out on to Bombi, but he is surrounded and does go down. Well, bot lane, of course, the Void Spirit did end up getting the puck. So 496 once again getting 2 more kills across the map, making it a 2-6 now. As MCY is going to start trying to apply pressure into that mid tier 1 tower, but it's just an IO with the helm of the Dominator. It's not really that effective. I mean, he's just about to hit level 6.
Yeah, not quite there yet. Like, even the spirits are still level 3, so you're gonna need a little bit more if you want to get some damage out. But this is the point where MCY can just kind of sit in the jungle, get his farm up. He has been given a lot of space. 496 is not really hunting the IO, and it could be a mistake, although Hung.
He goes for the avalanche toss, jukes out the spear. Meanwhile, Jokam holding down Boomy, but nobody's gonna die here. Everyone gets out scot-free, but now Hung may go for more as he goes for the avalanche and perhaps the toss back, but no, he won't be able to get anyone. Meanwhile, that BB take the bounty. Does lock in MCY with the 8th of Remnant, and MCY, it's going to be his first relocate of the game, but it's going to lead to nothing. Just wanted the bounty, but is unable to get it. Meanwhile, Hung mid lane is still causing all kinds of havoc. He'll break the Dream Coil and just try to run out of there. And he might just get away with it as he turns back around now, but the Ice Blast is going to fly in. Hung still Avalanche tossing up that puck. JoeCam now moving in on the leaner. And somehow, Hung does not die.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. You blow you blow one very big ult in your puck. Get that done. Fairly short cooldown for Boomy though, but you're not finding those openings. A 2K lead coming out here for 496, 11 minutes in, 2-6. And the issue I have here for Adroit is that sure you're finding farm NCY, right? It's an IO farming up. I don't know if you're comfy about trading farm against a Faceless Void like this, and you're not even really trading farm. MCY is still about 1k behind Drew. The only real person that's farming well is Mac. I don't know if that's worthwhile for Adroit. It doesn't feel like it is, as, you know, the scaling of the Faceless Void is a lot smoother, a lot easier to ramp up, and Chrono's always good.
Top lane. Jump onto our Void Spirit. Ice Blast gonna fly in, and the rest of the Pulse will buy him a bit of time as he does go for the Astral Step back onto the Beastmaster. Nico is gonna die to the Ice Blast, but does eventually also get the Void Spirit as Boomy gonna run onto Bombi. Be able to get a nice secondary pickup here for Adroit, so still getting the positive trade. However, Hung, I don't think he can get much done by himself, but he might opt to go after Boomy. Doesn't really connect with the Avalanche, but not all of it anyway. That'll mean that Boomy is able to get himself out. However, down towards the south, JoeCam trying to kill off CML, does commit the Lacuna Blade, but is not going to be enough on the leaner.
It's unfortunate, but Undying can be beefing with this.
Arena being dropped. Mac does catch her out and does take her out. Nice little easy pick up there for Mac. He maintains his spot at the top of the net worth board. This 496 are continuing to just play the slow game. They don't seem to be in any rush as long as Drew is farming.
Yeah, I don't think there's any worry. Like, IO1, again, is pretty potent with the spirits, with a relocate, and what he can do with that. It's just that it's got such tight timings, and Adroit just doesn't feel like they're meeting that aggression. So 496 is in a very comfy spot. Just keep farming up with Drew. Mask of Madness done. Yasha gonna come out next into the SNY. And once you're there, you're gonna be just very happy. Adroit, they got that set of kills off the back of Max Blink. They've also got the Necronomicon being formed up here for our Beastmaster. So they're smoking up. They want to play with that Blink and try to get their aggression out here.
Avalanche Toss does catch out Nico. He does go down immediately, but Bombi does also die. Now that BB gonna jump in with JoeCam, and the Laguna Blade can kill off Mac, but Drew gets a nice chrono as well onto CML just to ensure they get everybody they wanted. Even a tombstone at the end, and Drew still wants a bit more as he chases down Boomy. Might be able to get him. 496 just seems satisfied with that. A great team fight.
Yep, it's I want to say Drew's first or second chrono coming out here as well. Pays off, and that's one thing with the Undying. When you put that tombstone up, if it dies, you're bleeding gold away constantly. That's something 496 loves, and they find another pickup too.
Yeah, Hung ends up getting Boomy on the puck, just an Avalanche toss. Nice little pickup for him on the Tiny. Looks like they might even go for another smoke. Just a very unexpected smoke play here from 496. As you'd kind of expect them to go for a bit of a reset after all this fighting, but they're all pretty healthy. So back in for another fight. 496 understanding they have an advantage right now. Mid-tier 1 going to get forced in, but Mac going to be in a bit of danger as the Ice Blast does fly through, and he is really not that tanky once that Ice Blast is there. Raw is going to be committed by Nico. Boomy trying to go after Bombi, but he's already done his job. I don't really mind dying too much on the AA. 496 now. It's a matter of whether they can defend this tier 1 tower. They do take down the creep wave, but MCY is able to continue going after that tier 1 and does eventually secure it, as now the Dream Coil is there from Boomy. It won't really lead to much. In fact, Hung wants to chase, but blinks towards the east rather than the west. Adroit, do they want to fight again? Mac, he has the arena up. He'll go for it, but that BB is able to get away thanks to a great LSA out from JoeCam. Unfortunately for Mac John, he blinks straight into it.
It's not what you want. They waste the arena here as well, and that BB is still going up for the rune.
He is, and he's going to be allowed to walk away, it seems like.
Adroit, you know, we talk about the issues here. They don't have enough control. Like, you see the overextension of that BB. Undying can't punish it. Like, what does he do? Get a decay stack? How scary. It's not something that BB cares about. Like, oh, boo-hoo, four strength. He's not going to die. Mac needs to land the spears, but that's such a long cooldown. Once he misses once, 14 seconds, that's like an eternity for Void Spirits. And look at Hung, it's just lining up again.
Boomy's trying to find him, does get him with the Dream Coil, and does actually cancel off the TP. He was TPing. Meanwhile, MCY just got his Aghanim Scepter up, so here come the Spirits. They do manage to get the Tiny.
Yeah, it's one way to get that done. Hung, a bit too confident, is punished, and MCY now with the Ags at least can farm a bit faster if he wants to. More importantly, he's got consistent DPS in these fights. If he shows up with the Spirits, blow people up, there's not quite anything to mitigate that damage here from 496. We don't see any pipes, we don't see any BKBs yet, so there's going to be a lot of impact here from MCY. He just needs to get his body out there. He needs to find those openings.
He is there from Mac. He's just waiting on that spear and does have a nice setup thanks to the Yules out. Still, JoeCam trying to go after CML. Does get him with the help of Drew. Drew does have Chrono up, but pops the Mask of Madness first instead and goes straight after Boomy. Does get him. He did also kill off Bombi on the AA, however, so it's just a 2 for 2, but there's your Chrono now, catching out both of them, but a great roar out from Nico. Will hold back Drew. Mac will get all the healing he requires as he jumps back in, but now Hung going for an avalanche toss does land on 2. Is it going to be enough? It is. Mac will go down, and now Drew goes straight after MCY. They won't be able to kill him off. Nico actually ends up killing off JoeCam in the backlines, but here comes that BB on the Void Spirit. You get another. Now CML jumping in with the Flesh Golem, but he doesn't really have too much help here. It's only the IO. Boomy's coming in, but I would not recommend it. 496 gets the positive trade once again.
I mean, I like what MCY is doing. He's trying to put his body out front. He's trying to play with the Spirits. It's not as impactful as you'd hope for. And that trade, as you mentioned, way better for 496. It was 4 for 3 in the end, but 496 is just happy. Drew is just constantly winning out. MCY, even with the Ags, is still forced to farm with it anyway. He's just playing in the jungle, you know, trying to build up still, trying to hit some leveled spikes. It's going to be a while until the Eye is really a force to be reckoned with. 496 though. Drew saving up for the MKB, is looking set to have that good time, and they do find one at least.
Okay, Mac gets Bombi. Bombi just running down towards the south, and Mac, he commits the arena for it, so fair enough. It is one of those situations where you just take what you can get right now if you're Adroit and just buy more time. Problem is, Drew is still farming way too quick. Once he has the MKB up, but I just can't see an IO sustaining himself through a Chrono with an MKB Void. It's way too much damage.
Definitely is. It's just they have no way of dealing with Void beyond the Beastmaster Roar. So Nico has to be perfect with Auroras. We've seen him do it once. And if you can break up the Chrono every time, I think you've got a solid chance for Adroit to cancel out the spell. But you also have to notice that 496, they can play outside. They've got the Ice Blast. JoeCam's been steadily building up on his Selena to have someone that can combine their damage outside. And it's still looking pretty nice. Adroit though, they're trying to build up your Boomy, saving up for his Ags. We're seeing a BKB being saved up from Max Mars. So once you've got that, it should be easier to frontline. And our IO is going for a BKB as well. So once you have those spells, you only really worry about the Chrono But again, you've already got Nico kind of set up for that, so they just need to watch the spacing on Nico, and I think Adroit might be able to make placeholder Bombi.
Your life cycle
Goes down to Nico. Let's have the Blink Dagger now up on the Beastmaster, and I apologize about these missed kills. One of those days.
Yeah, it's okay. Still smoke up here. Adroit looking in the triangle.
That BB is going to be in a spot of danger here. Mac does have the blink up to initiate. They do finally spot him out now. Boomy, he might just initiate with the Dream Coil, and does. Spear actually thrown preemptively. Now the arena is there, but you don't have the Spear. And what a chrono out from Drew. He's got all of them. There goes Mac. MCY is very low and does go down to that BB. Onto CML it is. This Undying, not going to last too long here. Does go down. In fact, there's just more going on. Hung. Avalanche toss out. Does catch out Boomy, and there's only one left.
Are you ready to rumble?
It's just going to be the Beastmaster. He's out of there. But 4 heroes on his team are gone.
Just another big win for 496, and that was Adroit smoked up. That was them trying to make a play. This opens up the Roche pit. They know there's no roar. At the same time, though, 496 does not have a chrono, but this Roche is not going to live that long anyway.
That is a pretty quick Roshan. KB very close here for Drew. Again, I just don't see the answers once the MKB's up. It's too good of an item on Faces Void right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got other things to worry about as well. Like, we've seen that BB making so many plays on this Void Spirit. He has not made it easy, but speaking of, they Dream Coil him up. Nice relocate in from MCY and Mac, and that's one way to get it done. They do pick up a nice kill up that top lane. However, as they were doing that, Hung does manage to kill off CML.
Oh, I love this build up from Hung. Going for the Daedalus right-click build on the Tiny. Just perhaps looking for the Ags to play with a chrono. I think that's going to have a lot of potential for Hung if he can get the farm out. And again, it's been a slower game for Adroit, so it is. You're probably going to have time to farm that up on the Tiny, and it's always a pleasure to watch the Tree Volley plays with crits.
It is.
Adroit, you man, I don't know what else to say, man. They're still having issues. Boomy up top.
Ice Blast is going to fly out. Hung, he needs a bit of time for that Blink Dagger, but he does toss in Joe Cam, forcing out the phase shift, and now the Avalanche Laguna being committed. Boomy is going to be alright to just orb out of there. And there's the MKB now on the Void. MCY. I mean, you're just waiting for this level 20 talent, right? Like, you want the plus 60 Spirit Hero damage to be truly effective on this carry IO.
Yeah. But
even then, though.
Doesn't sound like enough, does it? 60 over 5 Spirit still.
MC Mac going to get jumped on here by Drew. He does drop the arena, but the bashes are flying through the BKB. Meanwhile, Hung is going to go after the Undying. MCY, Raw going to be out from our Beastmaster onto Hung, but he's just not going down. They don't have the damage, and now Drew's going to jump in for an easy chrono. He'll get CML, and now he'll go straight after Boomy. You saw how fast they melt, John, as they found another, and it's going to be MCY. He'll relocate soon, but it's not fast enough.
It's getting messy here for Adroit. With none of these engagements, they're not finding any wins. Even if 496 tosses out a so-so chrono, they just keep winning, and now Nico blinks out in the end. But 9k lead for 496, not massive by any means. 15 to 26 though, in terms of momentum, it's piling on. And the question is, what do you do about the Void? Like, Roar is there, but Nico just, even him alone is just not enough to stop Drew.
No, it is not. Mac gonna try and go in, but misses a spear out onto Bombi. They'll be able to get the kill eventually, as he is just trying to secure that tier 2 tower, and does actually get it. Does eventually kill it off, so I guess worth for him. Just a pos 5 AA after all. He doesn't mind dying. Kind of half his job.
Pretty much. And Adroit, they're down a mid tier 2. Their bot tier 2 still stands. They have their entire top lane to play with, so their triangle is slightly defended. Although without the mid tier 2, it's a bit harder. They're not in a very clean spot yet. There's that Daedalus up on Hung. So he's going to be bursting people down with a right-click Tiny. Going for the BKB first. So a cautious build-up. No Ags rush here for Hung, but as long as he gets the damage out, I suppose it doesn't matter.
Here comes Drew. Dreamcore out from Boomy, but just such an easy Aether Remnant to land for that BB. It's getting to that point. You're at a 12k deficit now if you're Adroit. Our IO, level 18, does have a BKB up now, but again, it doesn't stop the void damage. In fact, he's going to run into Bombi. That BB's coming in. Ice Blast is there. Now the jump in from that BB. They may force out this BKB early as MCY is trying to run. Drew is right behind. They'll hope for some bashes here. MCY does BKB up, but Hung is going to chase him down now. With the tree throw, he will still survive on 130 HP. Drew wants to continue this chase. Toss in onto MCY. Perfect play from Hung. Mac is trying to just get himself out of this one, but that BB now on the chase. They have the bashes out. MCY, he cannot survive the damage. The BKB on MCY, it does nothing.
No, it just doesn't help. It's just not enough to cover the weaknesses. And 496, you know, it just did expire, but they found the kills they want. 15k lead here, 16 to 30. 496 just taking absolute control, looking at the high ground mid. Bit of a split push top, but JoeCam's around to answer it. They do have Chrono. They've got all the tools available. 496 can look to just hammer in a big objective if they wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, 16k net worth lead is pretty huge at 27 minutes now. It's going to be a good feeling here for 496, and they know they have the better draft. I mean, there's no question about it. When we're talking late game, you're not going to beat Faceless Void in this meta. We just saw Faceless Void versus Spectre, and even Spectre can't beat him late game. And that's saying something, John. If Spectre's losing to another hero late game, something's wrong.
Yep.
What's Dota Plus think? 90%. Pretty reasonable, I think. For 496 here, 90%.
Yeah, it's like plausible deniability in the 9%. So if it's wrong, Dota Plus can say, well, I did give 9%. Just to keep itself safe. Still not looking good. You know, those odds are definitely stacked against. Up top, though, JoeCam
gets the Laguna off, and that BB will finish the job off. Ice Blast in. There you go. Just can't sustain himself. That BB says thank you very much. Into the mid lane, CML going to be a bit cautious as Hung is just going to jump in and... Okay, that's a squishy undying. Dream Coil is out now. They've caught Bombi. Problem is, Bombi doesn't care.
No. I mean, it's AA.
It's not really worth the coil to drop it on. It's just...
I don't know. Adroit, I mean, they're forced to just get what they can, you know? It's like, if you see the AA, that's the only kill you can find, fine, take it. Try to bounce back. They've got issues down the line, though. The Satanic is up for Drew, so the disassembly play is already running there. He's got all the sustained world. They're farming up those tier 3 items here as well. You know, even a BKB for that BB is super close, and...
Top lane, Boomy. Oh, he's going to get bashed first hit with the silence out from that BB. There's just no chance of survival.
There is nothing for you.
I'll tell you what, John, if I was Adroit, my fingers would be getting close to those that G button on my keyboard. This is looking pretty rough for them. I realize we haven't seen a high ground attempt yet, but I'm not sure how much further this goes. Have faith in MCY, I guess. See what he gets up to.
Oh.
Drew has the chrono if he wants. They don't want to fight underneath that tombstone, so they're just going to walk away for now.
And that's a massive cooldown expended by CML. And that's the one thing that Undying has for him now. It's just Tombstone. So not going to have that for a while. Going to push Adroit back a bit. You have to be cautious in the next fight. As 496, again, they've got control in this entire jungle. The best play here is what MCY is doing. He's just sniping away bounties while they can. And that's it. That's all they can really hope for.
It's a sad existence. Just hunting bounty ruins. What's Drew work? Yeah, he's just going for a butterfly next. I mean, in all fairness to MCY, he's going to work towards his own MKB now, so he's going to have the counter towards that butterfly, and oh, we're going to have a smoke. He's about to hit level 20. Bit preemptive here, but they're going to try and start the team fight. Drew going to get jumped on with the Roar. Can they get the kill? He gets speared to the arena and does go down. It's a great start for Adroit. They need to capitalize right now, so they'll go for the Dream Coil, and that is an Axe Dream Coil, so they'll find even more. Adroit, they're making it work. That'll be a 20 on MCY as well. We'll see if that's what they needed.
Yeah, it's a massive win for them. No buybacks in 496, so this Roche might just go the way of Adroit if they take it fast enough. The damage isn't flowing as much as you'd expect, though, and that could give Hung an opportunity to sneak in if he wants to.
They're going to have time.
No,
Like
looks like... Yeah, they're just going to let it go. I think Hung's not interested. No BKB on our Tiny. It's not the safest. So a bounce back for Adroit, taking the Aegis and Cheese here on their end. A second life going to the way of MCY. 496 have to be a bit cautious with how far forward their Void is. Like, they went all offensive. No BKBs, at least on their faces. Void here. Drew still saving up for it. They have finished the BKB on Hung. And I believe that BB found out the hard way that it was an Ag's puck. So they should be aware of when to pop the BKBs. And I think with that surprise factor out, it might be harder for Adroit to find those same openings. But if they keep catching 496 with their pants down, they can definitely find the swings. They just need to find those opportunities.
Absolutely. But there is going to be a big smoke up now. Drew going to lead the charge. There's a relocate happening. This could be really bad timing for MCY as the Ice Blast is going to fly in. Drew going to go straight after Nico. The Roar. No, the first hit bash out from Drew. Now CML just getting taken down. The relocate is there. Poor old Nico, John. He turned around for the Roar. Mid-animation gets bashed.
Whew. It's just those things, you know, when you're playing against Faceless Void, that's always going to be a factor, and they're going to set their eyes high ground. Now, Adroit does have the second life, Adroit does have the cheese. They've got an opportunity to try and stop this, but Drew does have Chrono and playing a bit cautious here.
Yeah, they're going to jump in. Apologies, by the way, about the barking in the background, as someone's apparently come over and Luna does not like it. It's 496, yeah, they're not going to go for the high ground. Just, they have the Chrono, but it seems like maybe that last team fight shook them up a bit. They don't want to really risk too much in the way of going high ground yet, as Casual Ice Blast going to fly through onto MCY, but he just dodges it anyway.
Yeah? You know what this reminds me of, Mike?
What's that?
You want to know? You were talking about it a lot. It reminds me of European Dota.
Oh, don't talk to me about that, John. I don't want to offend anyone from that region. It's just, you know, what I was saying to John, I feel like I have to say it now. I was just saying that European Dota just seems so much slower than SCA. It's
the high ground.
The high ground. It's so slow. I don't know what to say. It's just watch a game in EU. You'll understand. Like
I think it's more of the fact that we're so used to C, right? Like
Yeah.
Pro Series Season 3, we knew the pacing. It was just in a snap. You lose a fight, you lose objective. It was just
Yeah.
very focused. And 496 right now, I mean, they're playing smart. They're playing safe. Maybe a bit too safe for what we're used to. Especially, 496 was one of the faster teams. This is just a bit surprising that they're toning it down by a whole bunch here.
In all fairness to them, though, I mean, it was me observing throughout the middle of the night, so it could have been me just, wanting to go to bed the whole time. Could be a bit of
Fair
a
enough.
biased reaction.
Perhaps. Perhaps.
I mean, SCA Dota, best Dota, John. That's all there is to
Absolutely
say.
is. No one can convince me otherwise, Mike. No one can. Still,
Nor
I'm
should
just
they.
excited. Yeah. I'm excited for the fact that it's been so long, Hunk's gonna have an ag.
Almost kills off the puck. And does. Boomy does go down, but now MCY going to try and fight this one out. Arena is going to be dropped, but the spear is just way off top. Ice Blast. Raw is there on Drew, but Drew just turns back around. Now the Chrono is going to be out. Where the hell did that target go? Where is he? There he is.
Oh, up in the air. Oh, God.
Goodness
Oh my
me.
God.
Bit too high, I reckon.
Yep. That was right in my face when you move over it in the camera. Oh, wow. It's literally in your face. Still, 496, like a coil unwound, Mike. 3-0. 21k lead. And Adroit, again, they're going to have to try to play this high ground defense. Now, they are shoving out the side waves. But there's an Ags and Hung. Guess what time it is?
I love seeing this on our Tinies. This is the real way to play Tiny. It's the tree volley. It's all you need. Drew will take care of that tier 3 tower. Doesn't care for the fortification that was committed.
It's a rough spot now for Adroit as well. The Aegis expires on MCY, so you don't have a safety net. They take the tier 3 and 496 without the Chrono, pulled back. Again, being cautious. The respawns are fairly short for Adroit. They don't want to tempt fate here and don't want to give too much out.
Dream Coil is out. They have caught Drew with that Dream Coil, but he's just going to snap it and walk away. Not much else to it. Just out of there. They'll farm up some tier 4 items now on both sides, but it's a 24k net worth lead here for 496. Dota Plus is headed in the same direction right now, 93% the way of the Dire. And to make matters worse, Drew did just find a Spell Prism, but it looks like he is not going to keep it for himself. Interestingly enough, might just give it over to that BB or something.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Jocam. Yeah, it's Jocam, so he can upkeep Fiery Soul now, which is always nice as Alina. Of course, lower cooldowns on LSA is always good as well. Gonna be insane. About 50% uptime on the stun on the cooldown, so gonna be harder to avoid that control from 496 as they're just widening this lead. Like I don't see anything coming out from MCY that can stall this off. Like he's got the MKB, which is nice on our IO, but he has no presence. He's rushing the Satanic next, which should help him survive and perhaps heal an ally up. I think it's time to consider who can you really tether. And Mac is, probably your best target here. It's just when he's caught, although.
Arena going to be dropped. He's trying to go after the AA, and Bombi is going to survive. Oh, they get the kill, and you don't even get the Bombi kill. It's just so unfortunate here for Adroit. So looking back to MCY, seeing what he's got going for himself right now, he does have the MKB and I guess needs level 25 talent now to feel like he can do anything.
Yeah, I suppose. And it's just tricky though. The objectives melt one by one and they're trying to clump up for a tier 1 bottom. And that's looking healthy. They're going to be forced to respond soon as Drew still has Chrono. He's just going to be able to rip right through here and they need a response to come out somehow.
Oh, Burmese been caught out here by that BB. They'd love to burst him down, and Hung, just gets him easily. Meanwhile, down at the bot lane, looks like Drew has TP'd with JoeCam. They do kill off Nico. So no tier 1 bottom tower push for them. And Drew will just walk his way back.
Ooh.
Still has the chrono.
Yeah, he's held on to it. There haven't been any bigger team fights. It's been skirmishes. It's been so long that even JoeCam has a refresh Lina. So you can double Laguna, double LSA, double Dragon Slave, and just start ripping through. Adroit, how do you fight against 29k deficit in the high ground when you've only got the Morris to really play here?
I don't think you do, John. I think this may have been a bit of an error in the drafting. Maybe just not paying enough respect to 496 this game number 1. It's one of those teams I always say you can't underestimate these guys, as MCY loses half his HP to that Lina. That was only one Laguna Blade, by the way. He did not get the second one off. Relocate, going for the double damage rune, does pick it up, but JoeCam's waiting for him. Oh, the support Lina takes him out. Meanwhile, Hung gonna go after the kill onto CML. That's just not good news. Like, you're playing carry IO and you're dying to pos for Lina. That ain't it.
No. Adroit, call the GG. Just a rough game overall. Like, the draft was super different. Opening with IO and then running it as a core. Again, the one time Adroit did that in the last series they played with the IO, didn't work out. It still doesn't work out here. 496 is, despite subbing in multiple players, 496 is still a very solid team, and Adroit can't afford to underestimate them. Their placement is lower right now, but it's still fairly early on in groups. Like, we're in the middle of groups. There's a lot of opportunities for 496 to jump and Adroit to fall if they're not careful.
Well, with that, John, of course, we move on to game number 2, which will be coming up in about 10 minutes. It's MLP Dota and johnxfire, and we'll see you all again very, very soon for that second game between Adroit and 496 Gaming.